Hey friends, welcome back to Waterview Mountain. You guessed it, we're back at the mountain. You have to pardon the mess in the back. We got a lot going on all at the same time. We're still trying to finish up that wood in the bathroom, which will probably come out after this video because we're super excited. As you probably guessed from the title, today we're getting this CAMPLUX water heater installed. It is a CAMPLUX tankless water heater, 4.2 gallons per minute, propane water heater, 110,000 BTU. Outdoor camping shower. So that's the plan. I've been messing for a couple months with the Rinnai, and I just couldn't get to run off of propane, and I couldn't get Rinnai to give me a straight answer on how to do it off of a 20-pound propane tank. Kept researching, keeps coming back to these CAMPLUX outdoor showers, so I figured, what the heck, let's give it a shot. I think it was about $400, 300 something dollars. I'll find it. I'll put the price in here, and but that's what we're going to get after today. So thanks for coming, thanks for checking us out. Again, it's always an absolute blessing for us to be on this journey and to have you along with us, and for us to share all our mistakes with you. So enough of me rambling. Let's take a look at what all we're going to be working with here, and then let's get to busy. Let's take a look real quick. So the CAMPLUX heater already comes with a standard connector, gas hose with a regulator to down regulate the pressure coming out of the 20-pound tank, and it's already connected. Still make sure it's tight before you do anything. Now, of course, because this is an outdoor shower, they want you to use their fittings and use the little handle that comes with it. I didn't even bring it because I know I'm not going to use it. The super confusing thing is these are BSP fittings, which stands for British Standard Pipe Fittings, not NPT, National Pipe Thread Fittings. I didn't realize, and I'm going to make a little short about this, but there's hose fittings, GHT or HT. There's BSP, which is what these are, and then there's NPT, FIP. There's all these different fittings, so make sure you do your research before you just go buy some fittings, because I've gone through this multiple times now, which you'll see. I found a half-inch BSP, so that just screws right on there, nice and easy. And then this side is so it's half-inch BSP on this side, but this side is a 3/4 inch garden hose. This side is a 3/4 inch NS National Standard pipe. So it still fits kind of sort of mostly, and with some pipe dope or some threading on there, I think we're going to be just fine. So because I initially bought just a half-inch NPT or MNPT to a half-inch PEX coupler, and it won't thread on there because I think one's 55 degrees and one's 60 degrees as far as the cant of the thread, so they won't thread on there. So do your research and understand that. Also understand that these little plastic things came with it. So that is BSP, and if I would have bought these that go over that 3/4 inch to half-inch on the outside, it might work better. We're not going to do that because I don't have those, but as you can see, this fits just fine on that to there. But like I said, we're not going to use these little plastic things for now, as far as I know, but keep that in mind that these are designed, I'm assuming, to accept that hot water, and it's not going to melt it or mess it up. The other great thing about the CAMPLUX, it runs off a 2D battery. So if you go way back to the initial video that we did of running a wire, I ran a whole separate wire just for the hot water heater. We're not going to need it because it runs off of this and the propane. All right, enough of that rambling. What else? We need some half-inch PEX. We need some connectors. I'm going to run it out. I already have the T's in place on a 3/4 inch pipe. It's 3/4 inch to half-inch. So I'm going to run it off of that from the cold. Going to shoot an elbow up the wall. Then I'm going to put a T in place because I'm going to run it up to the bottom of the tee, then I'm going to run this off to the side so that I can drain this to keep it from freezing. So that's what these are for. So these will come off to the side so we can drain the hot water heater so it doesn't freeze. So really that's all you need is a couple elbows, a couple tees, the ball valve so you can open it and drain it, and then of course you're going to need your clamps. And then as far as tools go, we're going to need a hammer because I didn't even bring them out, but I don't even have the right size. I thought I had some 1/2 inch C clamps so I could secure this to the side of the cabin, but I don't. So we'll still need that. We're going to need our cutters so we can cut the pecs, and then of course our pecs crimping tool. And I think that's going to be it. Of course, we'll see what else we need as we go along, but that's where we're at. So let's get underneath the cabin, and so let's see where we want to hang this bad boy, get it hung up, and then we'll get everything dry fit and go through the whole process. Okay, so our fittings come out right about here. So we're gonna hang it right about here maybe. Let's see. That hose has enough slack. Yep. So I'm gonna just mark these two bottom slots, and then two top slots. Well, maybe. And set this down. Couple of wood screws. Of course, it helps to know what's behind here. I know I don't have any plumbing. I know I got 2x4 studs. Then I have the cement board. So I should have plenty of space for that 3-inch screw to go in there. So now what I'm going to do is, actually I just marked that one spot. The other spot didn't work. My marker's not working. I don't know why. So I'm going to hang it on that one. And then I'm going to drill in the other. You're not going to be able to see it because it's just me and I don't have a ladder. So part of the other reason we're going so low. So let's get this hung up. You could get super anal here, I guess, and make sure it's level. Let me get a bucket. I'll be back. I opted for the work platform instead because the bucket a little uneven. So while I was in there, I decided why not get the level. We'll make sure it's level so everything runs right. I was pretty close. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're level. And then I'm going to wait to put the bottom screws in till we get everything else hooked up. Let me close up my hatch for the batteries. Now we're going to crawl underneath. Let me grab the GoPro and we'll get the water hooked up from the main water supply coming in, the cold water, and we'll finish that whole side. Then we'll do the hot water side going out. Okay, so here's our cold water coming in 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch, right? And yep, these are pretty close to each other, but the great thing about PEX is it doesn't really matter. It's pretty flexible. So I'm going to go ahead and put a clamp on there, and then we're going to go on to the cold. And then I'm just going to come out here to the edge, right where it's at the edge of the outside siding of the cabin. So I'm coming right here. See, there's the edge of the outside, and I don't know, I'm going to give us an inch or so of play, just so we'll come out a little bit. We'll have a little bit of space and a little bit of play to move it. So here I'm going to cut it, make sure it's squared off. Didn't prepare very well. I don't have my bags open. Another clamp. We'll do a 90 right there. So now we got to go from that 90 up to there, that water inlet. So before I do that, we got a couple things, right? We got to put, well, let me switch to the other camera so you can see. Okay, here you can see cold water coming out, left us an inch or so. I'm going to just dry fit this on here. Like I said, it's a 1/2 inch BSP to 3/4 NPT. I'm going to just kind of fit that on there. No permanent fitting yet. I'll just pop that on there, bring this over so I get an idea of where do I need to cut this. So I'm going to cut it right about here where my thumbnail is. Nice and straight. That pops in there. There you go. Bob's your uncle. Now, we could just stop right there and call it a day. Obviously, we need to put clamps on there first. But it was recommended by CAMPLUX that you put a drain relief valve in here to help keep it from freezing. And last year, even though we're in Alabama, we still had a freeze good enough or cold enough that it froze the casings for our water filter. So I'm not going to take any chances. I'm just going to kind of pick a spot, I don't know, about in the middle. I'm going to cut that, make sure it's level. Now would be a good time for me just to throw some clamps on there everywhere, just to make sure I don't forget clamps later. Clamp there. We need a clamp here. Right? You're going to go here. And a clamp up top. There you go. And then I'm going to cut off, I don't know, a couple inches of pipe here. To put on here. With a clamp. And then a clamp and our drain valve. So, not something super fancy. There's probably a better way to do this, but that's what we're going to go with. So, I like everything where it's at. That's seated tight, that's seated, that's seated, that's seated. Everything's seated. Nothing's permanent. It's all just temporary. And then I can come back and change this at any time. That's what I love about the PEX. Is if I don't do it right, I can come back and fix it later. So before I start clamping all this down, I'm going to put some thread on here. There was one other tool I forgot. I'm going to need a pipe wrench to tighten these. So I'm going to put some pipe tape on here, and then we'll get everything tightened down. stay taped up. Now we'll get you screwed on there. I already tightened these together with a pair of pipe wrenches. There you go. Felt like I was missing a clamp somewhere. Up top. Okay. Everything's got a clamp. You're going to go there, you're going to go there, you're going to there. Okay, now I start clamping. Alright, then just double check all your clamps to make sure you like what you got. Everything's tight as a tick. We're going to do the hot side and then we'll come back and see what's next. Well, so much for that big plan. Let me see what we can do to get these things fixed up and on the right track here. Probably can't tell, but quick trip to town because my little contraption didn't work. We already know NPT is not going to fit on BSP and not going to fit on the garden hose, so didn't work. So what I did is I went and I replaced it with this little plastic thing we talked about at the beginning that's got BSP on one side, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch NPT on the other side, and then bought a NPT female 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch. So that all works. On this side I used the 1/2 inch BSP that they sent. That's where that little thing came from. The other one had the BSP. I didn't buy it. They sent it. This is a 3/4 inch garden hose, but the 3/4 inch NPT fit to the garden hose. Just a little bit of extra Teflon tape there and it all fits. Got my gas tank right down here that you can't see. Make sure that's nice and open. And then just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to open my valve here on my hot water and let's see what happens. Before we do that, I have it set on minimum water, so it's prepared to accept the minimum amount of water, eco. So this is essentially your temperature control. It'll stay warmer, it'll get warmer in the winter. So as this water's colder coming in, if you turn it to full, it'll get warmer in the winter. And then minimum gas to see what happens. So I'm going to open this hot valve and see what happens. Fired, kicks on. Nothing. Fires, kicks on, shuts off. I don't know if the problem is the 1/2-inch lines coming in or what, because I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like the tank's filling back up again. It shouldn't be filling up with anything. As the water flows through, from my understanding, it should be constantly heating the water flowing through. The little pump that we have is a 45 PSI pump. I think it's rated for 6 gallons a minute. I haven't done the math on what 1/2-inch PEX allows it to supply, but as you can see, even if I open it just a little, I still don't get anything. It's got to be a good ripping stream. And then it kicks on, and then it kicks off. Try to flirt with the flow all the way open. I mean, you see, that's a good steady stream of water coming out of there. I don't understand why it's not. And it says the minimum is 3.6 psi. There's no way we're down below 3.6 psi. Anyhow, that's where we're at. So I've called CAMPLUX 4 times. I keep getting run around in circles. So this is going to have to be continued another day, I suppose, because it's 5 o'clock. I guess they're in South Carolina, so maybe they're closed, and that's why I keep getting the run around, or they were close to closing. But either way, to be continued. But we got it plumbed, and now we just got to figure out why the gosh darn thing doesn't work. So get something to eat. I'll see you in the morning. All right, it's the next day. I called CAMPLUX, like I said, I think yesterday, 3 or 4 times they didn't answer. Called this morning, got through to a nice young lady, Jennifer. Couldn't solve the problem, so sent an email to the technical support team with the schematic of this, not a schematic, but actual picture of this. Been back and forth with them all day. It's about 1 now, and I'm embarrassed to say what the problem was. However, this is Waterview Mountain, and I do make a lot of mistakes. This was a biggie. This mistake was I had my lines backwards. I had the inflow coming into the hot side coming out, and the out coming. So I don't know how I did it. I don't know what happened. I swear I had the lines marked, but somehow along the way now I'm going to have hot water going to the toilet, and my hot and cold lines at the sinks are going to be backwards, but whatever. It is what it is. So with all that said, let's see the magic happen. As soon as I get a little flow, that bad boy kicks on. And that's hot. I mean, you see 127, 129 degrees. Turn it off, it shuts off. I'm such a dummy. But at least we figured it out. Now tonight, I'm going to be able to take a hot shower. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think had I not done that backwards, I think it's great. I ran the shower a little bit earlier just to make sure, because I read some reviews that said with the mixing valves, this doesn't behave very well. Now, that very well could be the truth down the road. I won't know until we get down the road. And of course, if I have any issues, we'll make another video and I'll let you know. But so far, I let the shower run for about 5 minutes, adjusted the temperature a little, and didn't have any issues at all. So, so that's it. I mean, pretty straightforward. The biggest thing is, you know, they send you with 1 BSP brass, and then they send you 2 of these plastic BSPs that go to 3/4, so they're 1/2-inch British standard pipes to 3/4 national pipe thread NPT, which is what we normally use here, or MIP or FIP. But that was it. Pretty straightforward. You know, I put these on there. Again, I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it also has a drain plug underneath here, so I can drain it underneath here as well to get all the last residual out, so in the winter it does not freeze. But pretty straightforward. It didn't take me very long at all to get it hooked up. It just took me 24 hours to figure out that I had it hooked up backwards. So yeah, so that's it. Another great day, another big win for the mountain. Hot water, you know, you might be thinking, whatever, but it's a huge deal to have some hot water here. So so I'm pretty excited to take a hot shower tonight instead of a cold one like I did last night. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for coming. Thanks for checking us out. As always, we're truly blessed. I mean, I know we make a lot of mistakes, but I try not to beat myself up too much about it because, like I said, we're just figuring it out as we go along. So I kind of expect it now. At the beginning, I would really get upset about them, but now, not so much. So count your blessings. It's a blessing that we can do this kind of stuff. It's a blessing to get this thing running, and a blessing to have you along with us. So thanks for coming. Thanks for checking us out. If you like what we're doing, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. Of course, look up this way. We're going to post a new video. Let YouTube pick it because they know what you like better than we do. And until next time, thanks for coming. Be safe, and God bless.